Hey guys, it's just a Squid Head here, and I've got some unfortunate news. Recently, I've come down with an awful sickness, so you're not going to be seeing me on the cam for a little bit, but that's okay, you still get to hear my beautiful and soothing voice. I know you all like that very much. So very much. Anyways, we've only got 5 days left until we see X and Y, and I thought I'd give you some more leaks. Now, I will say something right now, where I did find all the information on the Gym Leader's Elite Four and Champion, I thought I'd keep that a secret for you guys, and keep this more sticking to attacks and Pokemon we'll see this generation. Don't want to spoil all of the fun for you after all. Okay everybody, let's jump right into this. The first Pokemon we see is Aegislash, the evolution of Doublade. He keeps his typing of Ghost Steel, but is revealed to have a new ability. This ability is called Stance Change. It allows the Pokemon to change its form depending on how it's battling. I don't entirely know what that means, but whatever the case, Aegislash has two forms, and it can switch between both of them. A shield, seething a sword, and a sword, wielding a shield. Design-wise, I'm a little disappointed with this. I mean, I saw this Pokemon becoming some giant cool haunted suit of armor, not a sword to two swords to a sword with a shield, but I can't do anything about it now. It does learn Sacred Sword though, which I think is kind of funny. But another thing I'm puzzled by is this guy's stats. Now, thinking of the fact that it's a sword, you think it'd have amazing attack, but its highest thing's defense. I guess it kinda makes sense it being a shield now, but regardless, ugh, Pokemon logic. The next Pokemon we get to see is the final evolution of Goomy. That's right, Goomy has been revealed to have one more form, and that Pokemon is Goodra. Once again, this Pokemon stays pure dragon, which I'm mildly disappointed by. I thought for sure it would end up being a dragon bug, but guess you can't win them all, right? Goodra has the ability Hydration, so as long as it's raining, this Pokemon is healed from all status conditions. It also seems this Pokemon has really nice special defense. This Pokemon's design is a decent one, I'll say. It's not some giant, scary dragon, but it doesn't need to be. From what I've seen, we're going to have a lot of dragon types in this generation, and this one's going to have access to water type moves, so I'll live with that. After all, you want to have diversity in all this, and I would say this is a Pokemon I wouldn't mind using in battle. Take a look at this little guy, why don't you? This is Noibat, the pre-evolution of Novern. Like its final stage, this Pokemon is a flying dragon, and overall, it's a really cute Pokemon. Now, I think this guy is probably going to evolve one more time before we see Novern, but with the fact that this guy is 113 in the dex, I don't think it'll matter. You won't see him for a long time anyways. But I can imagine this will have a lot of people excited. For a little bit, there was rumors going around that Novern would end up being a legendary, which I was going to be completely disappointed by. However, it's not, so I'm happy. So, yay! Remember this little guy? The Burgermeister Meisterburger? Well, here is his evolution. Avalugg, the iceberg Pokemon. And according to this guy, he has an ice-covered body that is hard as steel. So I wonder why it couldn't just be an ice-steel type instead of pure ice. Regardless, I really don't know what to say about this guy's design. I mean, I really can't tell what he is at all. Maybe some sort of backward shell turtle? It's hard to say for sure, but regardless, I am curious about what this guy's size is going to be. I imagine it's going to be huge. Maybe not Wailord huge, but huge all the same, and I bet for all who are going to catch this guy, they're probably going to name it Titanic. Yeah, I went there. No regrets. This Pokemon right here is just gorgeous. Whoops, I mean Florges. This is the final evolution of Flabebe, and where you think it would finally be a fairy grass because, well, look at it, it's part flower. That's too bad, it's just fairy. It does have the ability Flower Veil, however. This prevents any ally grass Pokemon from having their stats lowered. Now, I can see this being a great ability when you're in a double battle. For instance, you can spam a move like Leaf Storm without ever having to worry about your special attack harshly falling. Now, I have mixed feeling about this Pokemon as a whole though. I'm glad Flabebe got another evolution, but it's nothing that really sticks out to me. I can see some people using it. I just don't really know what to say about it. Something I noticed right off the bat though, and something you should notice too, it's only level 19, which means you can evolve this Pokemon as soon as you get your shiny stone. That's right, this is our first confirmed stone evolution Pokemon, and that means we're probably gonna see more. In addition to this, I'm still keeping an eye out for the Pokemon we need to evolve to trade. That's right, those evil Pokemon that make me go out and be social to get. Those are the evilest of them all. I can't stand them. Gourgeist is the evolution of Pumpkaboo, and what can you say about this guy? He's another Pokemon with another form. Now, I'm not going to complain about this though. In fact, I rather like this. A lot of Pokemon have been getting more forms this generation, and it's just adding a whole lot of more variety into the game. For instance, say you want to use Pumpkaboo, and I want to use Pumpkaboo. Well, I don't have to fret about having something you have on your team now, because when I evolve it, I'll just have the one of a different form. In theory. Now, let's talk about the forms we've seen. So far, we've only seen the one labeled small size. This could just mean it's gonna have a bigger pumpkin or a bigger candle. We don't know for sure, but regardless, I still like this guy all the same, and I really would like to have one on my team. Design-wise, he looks a little silly, but I like that. Sometimes it's the silly and simplistic ones that make a Pokemon the greatest. You hear that, Electrode? That's why you're one of my favorite. Behold, the mighty Dragouge. This guy is the obvious evolution of Skrelp, and I really like this guy. He goes from the tiny wimpy seaweed seahorse to the giant scary seaweed monster. From what's been said, this guy is going to be a physical attacker, and it's going to have the ability Poison Point, which means you have to be careful when making physical contact with this guy, or otherwise you might regret it and hate it really quickly. This Pokemon is the world's first Poison Dragon type, meaning I instantly love it for that reason alone, being Poison type is one of my favorite types. And for all of you who chose Y, you are going to be really happy to have this guy on your team. He's a dragon that can deal with all the evil scary fairies. And he evolves when he learns the move Camouflage. He will naturally learn this attack at level 37, so be careful not to skip that up, or otherwise you might regret it for the rest of your miserable life. To counter them, we have Clauncher's evolution, Klotzer. Klotzer is a pure water type, but becomes a deadly special attacker, and it gains the ability Mega Launcher, the same as Mega Blastoise, so all pulse attacks will receive an attack bonus. Overall, I love Pistol Shrimp as an animal alone, but the fact they made one as a Pokemon really makes me love this guy even more. I would want to use one on my team, however, I already have 2 water types and I don't want to overdo it. Now, this guy does have the same sort of evolution method. At level 37, he learns the attack Crabhammer. This is needed to get him to evolve, so even though he may not want to, just suck it up and do it until he learns a different attack. It'll be worth it. Next, we get to see the third legendary in the trio. This is Zygarde. Boom! I told you it'd be Pokemon Z! Unless they pull another move like X2 and Y2. Ugh. Anyways, this Pokemon is a Dragon Ground type, and it is classified as the Order Pokemon. It has the ability Aura Break, which reverses any Aura-based abilities, aka Yedvilles and Xerneas's. This Pokemon seems to be based off a serpent, making me wonder if the myth about Xerneas and Yedville are true. They say that they are based off a Nordic myth. In a nutshell, there is a giant tree which links dimensions, and is separated by 3 segments. The top is guarded by a blind bird that can see into people's souls. The middle is guarded by 4 stags, each with a different color crystal in their horn. And the roots are guarded by a giant serpent, who is also imprisoned in them. If it does turn out that these are based off that myth, I would be completely in love with Nintendo till the end of times. If they want to keep basing stuff off mythology, that would just be cool and finally, we get to see new information on the mysterious evolution of Fletchling. This Pokemon is Fletchinger. Yeah, that's its name. I love it. It just sounds so silly and goofy to me. This Pokemon is a flying fire type, and it has the ability Flame Body. Overall, for the Pidgey of this generation, I love this Pokemon, and I can see a lot of people using it. It looks like it's going to be really good, and I would want to use it myself if it wasn't for the fact that my rival next door neighbor is already calling dibs on it. But I can still see a lot of people wanting to use this Pokemon, and it makes great sense. It appears this Pokemon will evolve around level 18, so if you want a fire type in the game, you won't need to wait an incredibly long amount of time. Next, we get to see some brand new attacks in this big ol' Leak Fest of ours. The first being Crafty Shield. It's a fairy type move, and its effect is it protects the user and its allies from status effect moves. However, attacks that cause damage will still go through. This will be really nice in multi-battles when you know your opponent has a Toxic or Stun Spore coming and you just want to protect one person while the other people attack. This won't be the selling point of a Pokemon, but I still think it will be a lot of fun to play with and can give you some well-needed protection. Misty Terrain is another attack we see that works really similar to the attack Crafty Shield. However, the difference being, instead of protecting you and your allies, it protects everybody who's standing on the field. Note, this does not count with flying types or Pokemon with the ability Levitate. Now, I can see this working really well for a player both offensively and defensively in some situations. Now, not only can you protect yourself from getting a status condition, but it stops your opponent from activating their Toxic Orb or Fire Orb so they can use their ability Guts, or have Facade hit with its highest possible power. Now, everybody has their own uses for this, and I can see this working for a lot of other attacks, but I guess in the end, it's up to us to figure out the best possible ways to use this. And yes, this attack is also a fairy type. The next one we see is an attack called Trick or Treat. It works really similarly to an attack called Soak, which changes a Pokemon's type to water. Trick or Treat changes a Pokemon's type to Ghost. Now, this can be really effective considering how Ghost is super effective against its own type. Now, add Stab into there, and you got yourself a deadly combination. It's been confirmed that the move Curse will also be affected by this. If a Pokemon who knows this is converted to a Ghost type, it will work as they normally were a Ghost type. It is not yet known if Normal is affected by this, but either way, this can be a deadly attack that people should look out for. I certainly look forward to it. The final piece of information I can give out for this video is the evolution method to get Sylveon. That's right, we have finally figured this out. In order to get it, Eevee must have 5 out of 5 hearts in Pokemon Amni. A clever way, I think, but it does sound a little bit too much like getting max happiness to me. I won't knock it though. It's a nice way to ensure we actually use it from time to time, and I respect them for trying to get us to. Well guys, that's all the information I have for today. Did you see anything you like? Did you see anything you hate? See anything you want on your team? Have any ideas for future videos? Leave me a comment and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Remember, I do all of this for you to keep you happy and informed. This is just a Squid Hat and I am signing out.